Hello all of you out there, and in today's video I'm going to share with you the top 10 good Ark Tames. Not the Ark Tames which are necessarily my favourites, but ones which are still definitely worth the tame. In at number 10 is the Chalik Ethereum, and this creature really does get a bad rep, and its tame method is definitely an interesting one, you having to feed this thing beer. But all of that aside, this is actually a really great creature for dealing melee damage, as it is a pretty powerful creature, and its knockback on some of the smaller creatures which you'll find on Ark is absolutely insane. And that knockback is still a very useful ability to have for any creature, and obviously it can throw its rocks around as well. And little creatures actually have a long range ability attached to them, so it is really a convenience that this does have it. And yes, it will probably take some time to learn to actually control this, as it cannot be the easiest to aim. Once you get it right, you have yourself a really good fighting carnivore with some long range abilities, and it really shouldn't be left out of the general mix of what you should be taming. Yes, it's not going to be the best creature out there, but it still will be very worth your while. Next up, we have the Achatina. And this is actually a really great creature for farming cementing paste, as they literally create it, and that pretty much is their only use. The taming method is also very simple, just requiring some sweet vegetable cake, which isn't the most expensive thing, and considering how much cementing paste you can get out of these things, it is definitely worth it. All for that cementing paste, of course, as that is basically the only reason for getting these things. Now, the Mososaurus isn't my favourite Ark Tame, of course, which is why it's on this list. These are kind of mediocre to not really mediocre, no, better than mediocre. The Mososaurus is a good tame. I will definitely say that. It's not my favourites out there. I'll definitely say the Allosaurus is a much better ocean tame, but this is good tames, not like the best tames. So that's why the Mososaurus is here. Sorry for my rubbish explanation of it, but essentially this is an underwater creature which is going to pack a lot of damage, and with the X versions on Gen 1 you can have yourself an even better time, and you can even craft a platform saddle for this thing and build a base on the back of it if that's your thing as well. It's just I don't really use the Mosa that much, and when I use it, yes, I definitely enjoy it, but I don't really get any kind of connection through it. Now, the anglerfish is definitely a creature which I think at some point you should tame, and it definitely is worth it for all of that silica pearl farming. I don't know why I couldn't say silica pearl there, but yes, this is the ultimate silica pearl farmer. You don't even need to get off the back of this thing to farm it. You can just, I can't remember what you do, just like attacking. I haven't used this thing in a couple of weeks now, so my mind is oddly ill refreshed. As yes, this isn't the most memorable creature, but it definitely is one which if you get into using, you'll use a lot. It's just I'm playing Extinction at the moment, and you know, these things really aren't going to be any help on Extinction. There's not really any kind of ocean on that map. But yes, if you're in a pinch and you need some silica pearls, the angler is a great shout for a creature. If you haven't tamed one already, definitely tame one. And if you just want to farm some angler gel, that is a great use out of these things as well. If you kill them, you can get angler gel, you can put it in torches, and it has many other uses as well. Now, the Bronto is one of these tames which just has to be mentioned on the list. This creature is one which, albeit, as obviously this list goes, isn't going to be the creature which is going to absolutely change your game and just be the most insane creature you have ever set eyes upon. But it is still a very good harvester of berries, and it even has a platform saddle too, where you can build a base if that's your thing, again, like the Mosa. And it does actually deal a reasonable amount of damage, although it probably will take some time. But I did manage to kill that chalk golem. I think they're chalk golems on Vaguero. Not sure. Educate me if I got that wrong. Comment down below what are they called, because I'm not actually quite sure. Yes, the Bronto does lack in mobility, but considering the length of its tail and how many bushes it can gather, this is a really great creature which, if you haven't tamed already, definitely give it a try. In at number 5 is the Rock Golem, and this thing is a really great tame, I will admit, but not one which I am absolutely crazy about. And its taming method is one of huge annoyance, which somewhat does actually deter me from taming this creature, as I really don't want to get out the cannons and a parasaur, because that's the method that I use, or even a rocket launcher and do it that way, as that method is particularly risky. But once I do have one, I do find that I do use it quite a lot for killing deathworms on Scorched Earth, and is obviously really great at doing that. But still, overall, I don't have the greatest fun when using this creature, as it isn't the most mobile out there. I do prefer a more quick and snappy creature over something like this, but I could definitely see if I was more of a PvP player, I'd be loving this thing and I'd be taming it a heck of a lot more. Just for me, it's one of those mediocre tames which really I don't need as a PvE player, but it is still fun to tame a couple of times and just on general occasions. Now we have the Astrocetus, and this creature is definitely one which I'll use from time to time, but its taming method is one which I really just can't get round. But it is definitely one of those creatures which I prefer using than the Golem. And obviously, as this list goes on, these are creatures which I prefer more and more, if you haven't figured that out already. So the creature in number 1 is the best of the good creatures. And this is actually just some good fun for transporting things around and just for some general sky combat as well. Although this more fits into the PvP space of Ark players. So for me, a PvE Ark player, this isn't going to be the most useful creature to me. But I can still see all of its very valuable use cases in PvP scenarios, and still it is some really good fun to ride around on, mess around with, and deal some heavy damage on creatures with. A good tame. Now, I'm not really an Astrodelphis lover. I don't absolutely crave this creature, but I'll definitely admit it is a good one, and in my opinion, better than the Astrocetus, at least for my use case, as having a fast travel creature is definitely a really good thing to have. It's just I vastly prefer the Tropiognathus if I'm going to use a creature like this which can travel around the map with great speeds, or I will use the Maywing and I will alternate between those two creatures. And I don't really use this thing as its saddle level is too high, and I usually don't really get to that level, although I have on Gen 2. It just is a little bit too much effort for me to actually get one of these things, and the taming method is albeit quite simple, and I do have a guide on it, although not the best that is in my YouTube past, which I don't look too fondly upon, but you know, it's still there if you did want to check it out. It isn't actually the simplest of tame methods, and a lot of things can go wrong with it. Whereas a Tropiognathus, it is pretty straightforward overall, and yes, not the easiest again, like a simple knockout tame. It definitely is a pretty basic one in my opinion, and I have no trouble with it. But I can definitely agree the Astrodelphis is a great creature, and if you tame one, you're going to have a good time with it. They are just that kind of creature. They are really speedy, fast, and hugely agile. And in at number 2 is the Rgatha. And again, this is a creature which, albeit, I can see great use in. And I have used a little bit. I just can't love this creature. And I'm not the biggest fan of it in my opinion. Obviously, that would be my opinion. But I can still see its use case. Just to me, I don't really need this creature for everything. I can make do with some other creatures to transport things around, and yes, the ability to carry Rexes around is useful. I can always just use cryopods, or obviously the Soul Traps mod, to transport those creatures around, and I don't need a creature which can carry those types of creatures. And the tame method is a very long and lengthy process, and on the old version of Ark, these things are extremely rare, making the taming method even harder than it already needs to be. Whereas in ASA, these things just spawn absolutely crazily. They are everywhere in the swamp biomes on the island. It's insane. And obviously the Lost Island isn't in ASA at the moment, so the island's going to be your only bet. But if you do want to tame one, you have to kill a male Rgatha to start and take out that pheromone gland, which will be in their inventory. Tame a Bronto or another creature, which it will accept, and get all those resources, which were on screen about 5 seconds ago. The Bronto is advised, and those resources aren't actually needed, only needed for 100% effectiveness. Then you'll want to trap it or net gun it. Net gunning it is much easier. Pull out a magnifying glass or use the awesome spyglass like I'm using here if you have access to it, obviously. Otherwise, the magnifying glass is your best bet, or you might be able to use the tech binoculars too. And then you want to damage it as much as you can, obviously without killing it. Get its health as low as you can. Obviously, you don't want to kill this thing. That would be really bad, and then you just have to wait for this thing to get out. But before it does, or obviously if you're using a normal trap, you're just going to have to open the trap, feed that pheromone gland to your creature, and then wait outside until, well, actually wait from a safe distance, sorry, and then you might damage it more if it's needed, and then it will impregnate your dino. That's when those resources are needed in the kind of craving timers. Then at the end of that, your creature will fall over and out will come a baby Rgatha. A lengthy process, but actually quite worth it sometimes. And finally, in at number 1 is the Allosaurus. And this creature, most people will disagree with me by putting this in at the number 1 slot for good tames. It is my favourite tame which I classify as good, but I can't put it into the very good category, as for some reason I just can't like this creature, and I don't know why. I've tried so many times to like this creature, but I just don't like the size of it and all of it. I don't even like the taming method, which is so simple. I don't like the pack separation bit, which isn't even necessary. You can just tame all 3. It's so simple, and I don't really know why. I just can't like this creature, but I just can't really like this creature for whatever reason. And I can admit that it is a really good tame, but for me, it just stays in the good category. And even though it has the bleed ability, good mobility, it has good stamina, good damage, and good health, I don't know. Like I've said so many times, I just really struggle using this thing for some reason. I don't know. I guess I'm just allo incapable or something. But I'll always go with a Carno, and then if I want to go big scale, I'll go with a UT, and I won't go with this creature. I don't know why. I'll go with the UT, and I'll just skip the allo entirely, and maybe I'll go for a Rex, although I probably won't travel around with that thing as it's not great. And then maybe I'll use the Megalosaurus or the Baryonyx, some much better carnivores in my opinion than the allo. And it's kind of sad that I don't really like it as much as I thought I would when obviously I was first using the allo, but I've just never really enjoyed using this creature, and that's just the fact of that. And creatures like the Deinonychus, the Shadowmane, the Baryonyx, the Megalosaurus, the Rex, the UT, the Carno are all creatures which I vastly prefer from the allo, and that is probably just the way that it's always going to be. A kind of comedy sketch top 10 kind of thing. Right, Tim does Minecraft here, and the Reaper, I just hate this creature, and the reason why this creature is just so bad in my opinion is its face just looks ugly. Like, this thing looks like it is just, I don't know how to describe it. It is just so ugly in its nature. Like, what is this creature? This thing is absolutely stupid. It's so ugly. Why would I want to tame this thing? And oh look, powerful bite. No. Okay, there are creatures with more powerful bites than this thing, and they also don't look like scary, because the thing is, at Tim Does Minecraft, we don't like scary creatures, and especially this one, this thing's face. I just can't get over this thing's face, and I don't care that people say that this is a really good creature, because I don't think this is a good creature. This is just, I don't know, it looks like absolute rubbish. I'm not allowed to swear because my mum's watching me right now. Right, next up we have the Golem, or the Rock Elemental, whatever you want to call this thing. I'm just gonna call it Little Sad Pirate Dude, because he looks like he was a pirate and now he is just a pile of rocks. What is up with this guy? He just looks so depressed, and we can't cope with depressed people in life, you know? This guy is just way too depressed. We cannot cope with depressed people. Now, this thing, I hate this thing, okay? There are so many things wrong with this creature. What is that walk? Is this thing trying to pick up girls out there? Come on. This thing needs to move without the sass. The sass is not necessary. Don't ask why my voice is deficient, please. Right, the Shadow Mane is next, and I know what you have to say about this creature. This thing is wonderful. No, it is so useless. I hate this creature, okay? There are so many things which I hate with this creature. Firstly, why is its tail so long? I don't like tails. It's going to end up like the rat in Ratatouille. That thing is going to be chopped off by a T-Rex. That does not need to be there. Wildcard developers, fix this. Apart from that though, these things can jump really high, which you might think is cool, but no, physics doesn't check out with me. Also, subscribe to the channel because I really need those subscribers, you know, like I'm lacking in everything, because for some reason people just really hate me, and I have no idea why people hate me. As you know, you get to see this thing and just how useless this creature is. This thing does not need a Ratatouille tail. Right, we got the Thler. This thing looks like a cat on steroids, but the thing is, dogs are always better than cats. So this thing has to be rubbish. Just cats, they just can't win, you know. And why is this thing climbing a tree? That doesn't make sense to me. These things shouldn't be able to climb trees. I think we should get rid of their hands entirely. Cats should not be allowed in this society. Yes, a very unpopular opinion of mine, but I am just a very unpopular person, which is just so, it's so nice, isn't it? So I need their subscribers. Subscribers. I don't know what that voice was. Right, the Thler is rubbish. Like, this thing is rubbish. I'm so good at saying creatures are rubbish. It's so rubbish. This thing moves so slowly. It can't even climb walls properly. Like, it just gets stuck in all of the terrain because for some reason, that's how Wildcard coded the game. It's not Wildcard though. It's this creature. It is so rubbish. You really should not use this creature at any point in your life. Do not tame yourself a Thler. This is not good. They are so useless. They're so rubbish. And you know you get the bleed ability, but that doesn't check out. Other creatures should deal the bleed ability, and mentally, in my head, they deal the bleed ability because they need that bleed ability. It is just, yes, every creature can have it, and the fact that this thing has it, it's unfair on those other creatures. It's like this thing has an unfair advantage, and I don't like that. I want creatures to be all on the same level. This can't have that high of a level. Does anyone want chicken on the fire with this next one? We got the Tickle Chicken. And you know why it's called the Tickle Chicken? Because it's got its tickly claws. The thing is, I don't really like being tickled, and my parents do it to me all the time, and it's so infuriating, and I hate it so much. I have a phobia of tickling. If someone tickles me, I'm going to pass out right on the floor and maybe vomit too, which is something which, you know, I don't want to get into details. And this thing does the same for me. Again, do not question my voice. My throat is so raspy at the moment, I might need some cough medication. Either way, this thing can gather a lot of fibre, which, you know, is nice. But, you know, I prefer my chicken wings, and having too much fibre in my diet is not something which I want. I want loads of pain when I take a dump in a toilet, and the fact that fibre makes the experience painless is just, I don't like it, okay? I need to abuse my body. It's how I'm gonna get those big muscles when I'm older, and then I'm gonna bring everyone in. The Tickle Chicken, I hate the way it tickles. I don't like it. And yes, you may say it's useful for the dragon boss fight, but I don't think the dragon likes to be tickled. And it definitely doesn't like to be tickled. I think it would prefer to have its face ripped off. Right, we're halfway through now, and we got the Baryonyx. Why do you want this thing? I heard there's someone out there called Frapperjacks absolutely loving this thing. And, you know, I'm not Frapperjacks, I'm Timmy Does Minecraft. And here we have the most insane Minecraft videos. You may say Minecraft has had a bit of a graphics update. I know it has. Look how amazing Minecraft looks in those HD 4K 8K graphics, you know? Like, they really added some stuff to the game. I thought they were never going to add sharks. But sharks are in the game now. Minecraft has really had a massive upgrade. And why does Minecraft need to have caves as part of the story? And this thing assists with that. And I refuse for that to be part of the story. So I will not get involved with this creature. Don't ask how the B-roll for this was recorded, okay? I may need to delete myself after this video. Don't worry, I won't. Don't worry, YouTube, do not demonetize me for saying that. Also, they can do a spinny thing. Why is this spinny thing cool, and why does it stop the sharks from moving? Is this a bug? Can people comment down below and comment if this is a bug? Because I'm pretty sure this shouldn't happen. Also, is the floating rock thing a bug too? I don't think that should happen either. Right, crystals, they're just bad, aren't they? You just see people with crystals just going like, oh look, I will now fall in love with this person because this crystal does that. No, the crystal wyvern has the same principle. Why does this thing need to exist? The normal wyverns are already rubbish as they are anyway. Who thinks breathing fire is cool? They should breathe literal, like, nuclear reactors, because the Conservative Party would really like that. And you know, I am definitely a Tory at heart. And these things, they're definitely not Tory. These are not Tory. They are too natural. This thing literally shoots out water. That is environmentally friendly. We cannot have that in this universe. And the other one spits out blood. Is that thing a cannibal? What is it doing? Is it just killing loads of stuff? That is not strictly allowed. That is against the law, and it is a concern. But the fact that this thing spits out water? No. Too environmentally friendly. This thing needs to be spitting out loads and loads of C2, so Rishi Sunak can finally approve me as a really good person, and I can get a badge, and maybe even get knighted by the king. That'd be a really great thing, wouldn't it? Right, this thing produces too much milk. Can we talk about it? I don't like milk, okay? And to people that pour the milk before the cereal, there's something wrong with you. And I feel like this creature would do that, which is why I hate this thing, okay? You can't pour the milk before the cereal, and this thing doesn't even have cereal in the first place. You don't just drink milk by yourself. Are you a baby? Who knows? If that is you, by the way, don't take offense from that. Either way, in terms of the Maywing, this thing can glide for some reason. Like, just fly, come on. Learn how to fly, it's not that difficult. Flying isn't that hard, just fly. And I know we can't fly, we will fly someday. Elon Musk will find something out after the whole Twitter thing is over and he's given up on Twitter, and Twitter is a completely dead platform. He will find a way for us to fly for only a couple 100,000 NFTs. Sounds like a pretty good deal to me, doesn't it? And also, these things can carry berries. Berries. I don't know why I can't say berries. Am I turning into an American and just becoming deficient? Again, Americans, don't take that as an offense. Right, I don't like bats, and the fact that this thing is called Desmodus, just call it bats, okay? Wildcard, you are being too flamboyant with your names. Chill it down a little bit. Just call this thing a bat. It is a bat. That is all it needs to be. It doesn't need to be Desmodus Draculae. What is that name? Also, this thing looks ugly, like the Reaper. I can't accept an ugly creature. I do not want to have nightmares and wet myself in bed every time I use this creature. I don't even know why Mojang added this thing to Minecraft. I may have talked about Wildcard earlier, right? Wildcard bought Mojang as far as I'm concerned. That's what I read in the news yesterday. So they're entwined companies, which is obviously why Minecraft has this massive update now. And it just, I don't know, it looks better, but the fact that this thing is just so ugly, I can't accept it as a creature. And what's even cool about it, it just takes your blood to tame this thing. Why do you even need to tame it? Can't you just ride it from the wild? Come on, Mojang, make a better game. Right, the last thing I'm looking at is the RG. Right, this thing is apparently great at gathering metal. But I don't want to gather metal, I want to gather things like iron and get those diamonds and all of that. Metal isn't a thing. It seems like a new thing which has been added, and I don't like the thought of that. I want my iron, I want my coal, I want my lapis lazuli, I want my redstone, and I want my emerald and diamond and netherite. I want all of those, please, at Timmy Does Minecraft. That is the only resources which we accept. Metal is not on that list. Metal does not qualify for the list, and it will never, ever qualify for the list. And for some reason, I can't find iron, diamond, redstone, lapis, or those kind of things on this new update to Minecraft. I don't know. I might have to shut down the Timmy Does Minecraft channel because it is just such an outrage that metals now. Like, what is the point of this? Okay? It doesn't make sense. You don't need metal. You just need iron and all those other resources which I've mentioned. This creature is utterly useless. I don't know why people go on about it. Just don't use the RG. Come on. Right, I don't know why this is here, and technically I know this is the 11th one, but I just wanted to sneak this thing in here. Or I think Frapperjacks did, and then just something happened, okay? This was in the edit for some reason, and this is a great creature, okay? This is Ark's best creature. It's small, it's cute, and it looks like this thing can really pack a punch in terms of damage, but it's not going to kill you, because, you know, like, we need to be family friendly and all of that, so it really does fit my quota for a good creature. Well done, Mojang. You made a good creature out of the new Minecraft update. Right, that was Timmy. What do you think of him? My voice is absolutely dying after the end of this. I shouldn't say that. Timmy is definitely a completely different person. Either way, comment your thoughts on this video down below, and I'll see you all later.